Hi, I'm Ryan Szymanski, curator for Battleship New Jersey Museum and Memorial. Today we're going to talk about decanning scuttles. So, the powder comes in cans like this one. It's being passed up from the magazine via a dredger hoist like this to the space where we are, the upper handling room. The upper handling room has part of the 5-inch gun mount in it, this central column, and then the rest of the mount is above it. So in the handling room, we're transferring the ammunition, both the powder and the shells, from the dredger hoist coming up from the magazine to the actual hoist that's going to take it up to the gun itself. This prevents a hit on the exposed gun mount from being able to go down the powder hoist all the way to the magazine and detonate the ship. We've got a break in here between the hoists. To keep the powder safe, as it comes up through the hoist, it is still in its powder can. Also, ready service ammunition, which is stored in the upper handling room during wartime conditions, is stored in cans in the rack behind me, so that as the crew gets in here during general quarters, they can immediately start taking powder and passing it up. So that rack there has room for a certain amount of cans, but these 5-inch guns are designed for sustained high rates of fire, particularly in an anti-aircraft role. And in that role, gun crews achieved a rate of fire of 1 round every 3 seconds per barrel. We've got 2 barrels on each of the guns here, so each handling room is servicing 2 guns. So within a very short amount of time, we can shoot through a tremendous amount of powder. Once the powder has come up this high, we take the actual charge itself out of the can to put on the hoist to send up to the gun house. But that leaves this aluminum powder can here with us. This space is extremely small, and there would be up to 12 guys in here handling the ammunition. So there isn't a whole heck of a lot of room for all of these powder cans. What do you do with them? Well, that's where your decanning scuttles come into play. Notice right here in the deck, we've got 2 red covers. These are here so you don't put your foot in the hole. During actual operations, these covers are removed, and they lead to an opening that then has a hinged door on the bottom. You put some weight on it and it'll drop open, and that just goes into spaces below. So that's the first step in getting rid of one of these tanks. Let's go see where these open up into. So now we are directly below that decanning scuttle, and we're in a shower stall here on second deck. First off, the upper handling room we were in is for mount 55, the aftermost starboard mount. And so this shower is the aftermost cruise shower on second deck before you get to the chow line. So, looking in the overhead here, this is our decanning scuttle. So if somebody was pushing a can down through the top of it, that just pushes this hinge structure open and falls right into the stall. There are canvas chutes that could be rigged to the bottom of this that would catch the cans as they fall so they're not clattering all over the place. I'm not entirely sure how those worked vis-a-vis the time of going to general quarters. Obviously, this is one of those spaces that hopefully the crew is using frequently. So you can't just have the thing perma-rigged in here. So they have to pull it out of somewhere, and there isn't an obvious locker or anything around here, and then rig it while everybody's running to general quarters. So I don't know if that's somebody's duty, is to be down here and catch the casings and rig this, or if it's just like, hey, if we do it, great. If not, the aluminum's going to chip the paint as it comes down, and then after the battle, we're going to have to repaint. Also interesting nearby in this shower, right here is the dredger hoist that was bringing the powder up that we saw up above us, and right above that dredger hoist is our other decanning scuttle. Remember, there were 2 on the deck right next to each other there. So these De-Canning Scuttles end up being just wherever they need to be. The use of the battleship was far more important than the living spaces. So in combat, nobody's going to be in the shower, hopefully. So it's fine to have this space pull double duty. Outside of combat, it's a shower. In combat, it's where the spent shell casings go. The ship's office, where the captain had his desk, also has 2 decanning scuttles in the overhead. So there are a number of berthing spaces on the main deck and second deck, and showers and other crew's living quarters generally that just have decanning scuttles in the overhead. So it doesn't matter if these things are falling on the captain's desk or not, you put things where they need to be in battle. One interesting feature is that Iowa-class battleships had 20 5-inch guns as built, but 22 decanning scuttles. Why did they need the last 2? We're up here on the O3 level, the after missile deck, between the aft funnel and the after fire control tower. And we've got a pair of decanning scuttles here, one on this side and one on the other side of the ship. And these are an exterior type, so they've got a waterproof lid over them, so they're a little bit different than the ones down in the guns, but the same purpose. What the heck are they for, though? Iowa-class battleships were built with a practice loading machine for the 5-inch guns. And it used to sit right here where our museum-era air conditioner was installed. We did a video when we were on Battleship Massachusetts on their 5-inch practice loading machine because it's a cool feature that we no longer have. In the 80s, they got rid of it.
Just forward of the funnel on the O1 level is a 3-inch practice loading machine. Battleship New Jersey would have had a similar loading machine aft of the second funnel on her superstructure, but it was removed before her 1980s commission. This is so that the gun crews can practice loading rounds, usually wooden dummies like this one, without having to actually fire and clear the breech of their mounts. On New Jersey's, this would have been a twin mount 5-inch loading machine, but the same basic principle. On board New Jersey, the shells are passed to the gun through dredger hoists from the magazines. On a destroyer escort, they're passed by hand through hatches. The hoist on New Jersey sets the fuse of the shell. On Slater, once the shell comes to the gun, you've got to set the fuse prior to ramming it in the barrel.
So we don't have it anymore, but they did not blank over the old decanning scuttles. So even up here where it wasn't a real gun, they still wanted to practice like it was real. So they still had the guy whose job it was to get rid of the spent powder cans to be throwing them down the decanning scuttles. So these end up being the highest ones on the ship and the only ones out in the open. In a number of videos, we've talked about ways that the habitability of the ship is built around the functionality of the ship. I think that decanning scuttles in your shower is the perfect example of that, or in the middle of the captain's office. Can you think of any other examples of that where functionality takes precedent over habitability? Let us know in the comment section down below. Battleship New Jersey receives operating support from the New Jersey Department of State, also from a number of other businesses and private individuals like yourselves. We really appreciate your support, and there's a link in the description below if you'd like to continue supporting us so we can keep making videos like these. You can also support the museum by liking, sharing, and subscribing so more people find out about us and our channel. Thanks for watching.